Alright, so in my early journey to learning self-mastery, I had certain questions around self-development, and more from the standpoint of why do certain things have to kind of be the way they are, or why do people come up with certain sayings and principles, why, just like when you hear people say certain things in terms of wisdom from Buddha, from the great Renaissance man, from Socrates, even from Jesus in the scriptures, it's like, where's this type of wisdom coming from? Of course, it's coming from knowledge, it's coming from divine revelation, things of that nature. But why is it that these things are so sound? Through my questioning, especially I was questioning God as a Christian, I was questioning God, like, why? It came to my awareness that is because there are universal laws that govern our existence. And then from universal laws, you get universal principles, which is another topic. So one of the basis foundations for understanding how things operate in this universe is understanding that there's 12 universal laws that are foundational to everything. Earlier, I used to study them, like read like what they were, but now it like becomes a subconscious thing, so they're in the back of my mind. And when I'm analyzing things, when I'm analyzing information, analyzing reality, a lot of times these universal laws come to my consciousness to remind me, like, remember, there's a law that's governing this. This is why this is happening, and this is how you have to maneuver within that law to get the best benefits or experience in life. So those 12 laws are: 1, law of vibration; 2, law of attraction; 3, and these are not in full like order of how they have to be, I'm just going through the 12. Law 3, the law of oneness; 4, law of compensation; 5, the law of gender; 6, law of cause and effect; 7, law of relativity; 8, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy; 9, law of polarity; 10, law of rhythm; 11, law of correspondence; and number 12, law of inspired action, or law of action. Now, when you go through these 12, and I have a link below where you can read the article, but even if you Google them yourself, when you really understand how these 12 operate, things just make so much more sense in life. And I would say it's like, it kind of, I won't say humble me, but when you have a quenching thirst or a desire to know, or it's like it's hard for you to accept something or a certain reality. Understanding these laws let me accept certain things are just have to kind of go this way because of certain laws that are in place. So for me, for example, let's say the law of gender. Right now, there's a lot of a lot of discussion about gender roles, and this goes into law of gender nature in terms of man and woman, but gender roles, or what a woman likes, what a man likes, which can be subjective, objective, all these different type of things. But the law of gender states that relates to masculine and feminine energy that exists in all things. To apply this, you have to achieve a balance between two. So it teaches you that basically there's a masculine and a feminine energy in everything. Now, human beings, as a man, I'm a masculine being. As a woman is a feminine being. So even in manifesting humans, you see that God or nature, basically, I say God because I'm a Christian, basically understood that, this was manifesting in nature when it comes to human beings. This is where the gender, even though, there's all this different type of stuff going on with gender, or what's a gender. Anyways, but even in me, there's masculine and feminine energy. That's why sometimes I can be, you could be angry, or you could be sad, you can be aggressive, you can be passive, right? There is an actual law of gender, and it's about balancing those genders. So when you see, human men and women fighting over, man should do this, a woman should do this, the issue is not what a man or woman should do. It's like, how do you keep a balance where there can be peace and happiness between them on a interrelationship level. But even on an internal side, right, a woman has masculine energy in her, and she can have feminine energy. A man can have masculine energy, feminine energy, and masculine energy. So how do we keep a balance so I'm a stable human being? I'm not leaning too much on one side. And that's really what a lot of people are struggling with, which is going to be, that's a great topic I should talk about. Next, I understood the law of cause and effect, right? All actions have a reaction, whether good or bad. You might not experience the effect right away, but it's sure to happen. This made me more conscious of my decisions, right? That cause and effect. Just because I make a certain action now doesn't mean it's, I'm thinking like, what could the effect be? That doesn't mean I'm going to overthink and not make certain actions because I'm worried about the effect, but just to keep a conscious mind that your actions do have an effect somehow, and you want to be conscious of the type of actions you make. People like to play the subjective game, like, well, not all actions are good or bad. That's up for debate. But when it comes to, let's say, moral laws of the universe or moral principles of the universe, I try my best, especially from a biblical standpoint, to take righteous action, right? I factor in if an action will affect somebody within my bounds negatively, in a negative way. And if it doesn't, then I will take that action. There's times I don't do certain things or say certain things because it's going to affect people negatively. And while there's a time and place for those stuff, I still keep those things in mind when it comes to the law of cause and effect. So a lot of people try to be like, why is this happening to me? It's just like, well, you got to think about your actions and how your actions are possibly creating effects down the line that are not the best positive, not the best for you in a positive way. One of the best examples I give is nutrition. That's something we can feel, not in an instant way, but within a good 12 to 24 hours. The way that you eat, the type of new foods you eat based on nutrition, your body will have a cause and effect in a positive or negative way. So that's one of the major ways that you can really experience the law of cause and effect. Another law is the law of polarity, right? There is a positive and negative to everything. You can activate this law by uncovering what's happening on the opposite and spectrum end. So like I said, law of gender is about masculine and feminine, right? Law of cause and effect is about cause and effect. She's like 1, 2. Law of polarity, there's a positive and a negative. So you want to be conscious of, positive things and negative things. To manifest in life, you really want to try and focus on the the positive things per se, but that doesn't mean there's not going to be negative experiences, which adds to a last example. I'm going to give it one of these laws is law of, let's see here, law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Your actions are preceded by thoughts that tend to fluctuate. You activate this law by remaining in a positive regardless of surrounding energies, right? So it shows that you can essentially change your state or your energy into a positive state, right? That's one of my favorite laws. It reminds me that I'm in control in some way or being, especially mentally, because I have the ability through action to change my energy into a positive energy. So based on the law of polarity, if I find myself shifting into a negative state of being, I know I can shift myself back into a positive state of being. And finally, one of my other favorite laws, which is, and I talk about them more, is the law of relativity. And it says your reality boils down to perception. It allows you to understand with greater compassion and comparison. So based on the law of relativity, as you know, for example, law of polarity says there's a positive and negative. Based on the law of relativity, is like your reality is your perception and it's real. But let's say you think you're going through the worst hardships of life, right? Somebody else can be thinking the same thing. But then when you compare each other's experiences, you might think, well, they have it way better than me, right? While they may think you have it better than them. Or you can look at somebody's life and be like, you know what, even though I'm going through hell, they kind of going through something way worse than me. So through the law of relativity, it gives you a balanced perspective of life and perception, where it's like no matter what you're going through, like somebody could be going through way worse and there's somebody probably going through even better. Especially somebody could be going through way worse. So it's like you don't just think, hey, like my reality is absolute and nobody else understands my struggle or nobody understands what I'm going through. There's always somebody that is actually experiencing, may not be the same experience that you're experiencing, but they're experiencing something that's making them feel the same way you're feeling. And while that is everyone's experience is valid, while everyone's experience is true, at the end of the day, it's all relative to each other. And because of this law, you now have a level of comparison and compassion to other people, and not an ego trip or a not, I won't say ego trip, but this entitlement to think that like your experience is absolute and nobody else's experience matters at all. So these are just, you know, some of the laws that I like out of them. But once again, the laws are law of vibration, law of attraction, law of oneness, law of compensation, law of gender, law of cause and effect, law of relativity, law of perpetual transmutation of energy, law of polarity, law of rhythm, law of correspondence, and the law of inspired action. When you read up on these laws, you understand these 12 laws, trust me when I say your life gets a new perception and understanding. Anyways, thank you for taking time to watch this and listening to this, and subscribe to the YouTube channel for more, or the audio or whatever, wherever you're listening to this still. Peace out.